How's everybody doing? Welcome back to my channel. Watch me do a full leg sleeve in 4 days. So with that being said, let's get this day started. Let's go. We just got here to the restaurant here. It's called Otro Cafe. I really love this restaurant because a lot of my clients, they come from out of state. So the reason why I like to bring them here, it is because they get to taste authentic Mexican food. So I'm here ready to have a consultation with my client. He's coming in and he wants to get an outer leg sleeves. And I can't wait to meet him and talk about the ideas that we're gonna be tattooing on his leg. And I feel like the way you explain what you wanted is very interesting to me.
I couldn't find like anything online when I was looking at
I know, like, it's complicated.
It's like they got like the theme, but not like the same like historical type of thing.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that because I think a lot of people confuse the Roman Empire with the medieval times and the Renaissance, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like we got to be able to separate them and figure out what that era means, right?
Yes.
So
there's a lot of overlap with the Renaissance and Middle Ages. So that's not it. But the Roman to that is way different. But everyone gets Roman stuff, which is totally fair. But it's definitely like, well, that's cool, but not. No.
And you know what's another thing that I see a lot of mistakes on when people want like a Roman Empire theme?
Yeah.
They get gladiators, and I'm like, it's like they don't go together.
No, it's like.
And then sometimes they say, this one bothers me. I don't know why. Well, it does bother me a lot. Or it's like they put a Spartan at the Colosseum. And I'm like...
Yep, I saw a lot of those where it's like...
Don't worry, my guy.
Yeah, especially on the lake, because I feel like the Coliseum does work well with the lake. So I always saw that Coliseum with them with that giant spot. I was like, okay. Fun.
Oh, this is going to be fun. I'm excited. After the consultation, I feel really excited to do this project just because my client gave me so much freedom to customize and he was really open to my ideas. So I know this is going to be an amazing project.
I'm Zach, from Illinois, moved to Arizona a few years ago, work in finance, started my tattoo obsession, I guess, a handful of years ago, got the arm sleeve, and now working on the leg sleeve. But yeah, consultation was great, super friendly, super chill. Walked in, it was like you were friends from the get-go. So we chatted for a while, and honestly, I forgot he was even working because we were just talking the whole time. And before I knew it, he set down his iPad and he was like, "Okay, here you go." I was like, "Oh, I was just talking, doing whatever." So it was super quick, super easy, and he excited, open ideas. He came with, I was very impressed. He came with, my sleeve is medieval themed, and my one particular thing about it is I wanted it to be historically accurate. I didn't want, things from that time period was a little finicky, so I didn't want like things to bleed over or things like that. And he came with pages of research to make sure that he knew the type of knights, the type of this, type of thing. So I was very impressed with the research he did, and then that's the friendliness at the consultation.
I'm ready. Every time I'm about to start tattooing, I feel like shadow boxing for some reason.
I'm thinking
Coming in day one, I already have my stencil ready to go. It looks clean, it looks very simple. And the way I'm gonna place it on the outer calf is I wanna make sure that the knight is gonna look like it's coming from behind the calf, so it gives it the illusion that it's facing forward.
Today is the start of my leg sleeve. We're doing the outer side. Today is the bottom half and tomorrow is the top half. And then I'll come back for the inside. It's medieval themed, so Middle Ages, fall of the Roman Empire to start of the Renaissance. So knights, castles, things like that. So we got a knight in the calf leaning up to a lion statue on the middle part, represents the royalty in that time. And then the upper thigh will be more of the architecture of that time period, and then the inside was yet to be brainstormed.
Once I was placing the statue of the lion on top of the knight, I was a little concerned about the kneecap just because the knee has a lot of bumps, so I was worried that it was going to change the feature of the statue. Thankfully, it didn't, and everything looks nice and symmetrical, and I'm really happy the way it looks. I was able to really center everything up perfectly just because his legs and the calf has a curve to it, so sometimes he can definitely change the symmetry of it, but thankfully everything looks perfect and symmetrical. I'm also really excited because for the whole entire project, this whole leg sleeve, I'm going to be using my ink set created by Dynamic, which you can purchase it Dynamic website, and they'll deliver it to you, and it's by 2. It has 2 different bottles, black and white. It is the perfect combination between a thin black and a super thick white. So whenever you mix them together, it just creates the perfect mixture to do cover-ups, to do black and gray, to do true grays, to do gray wash, and you can incorporate it with whatever style you want, because it is not just meant for cover-ups, but it is meant for any style. And the way I like to set it up, it is basically just putting 4 ink caps. 2 of these ink caps are gonna have just solid black, pure black. I don't dilute it or anything like that. And this one you gotta really shake it because it is a super thick white. Like I said, we've been working on this ink set for the last 1.5 years to make sure that it was the perfect mixture. And we tested a few combinations of inks, and we finally came with the perfect formula of how thick I wanted the white. And yeah, you're gonna see right now how thick this is, and it is beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm gonna get started with this outer leg sleeve. We got the stencil ready to go. It looks amazing. I like the way it flows on the body. All I gotta do today is just cruise through this front of the shin area, work the whole calf, and then hopefully I can continue on to the top. If not, it's okay. I got a second day. We got a second date tomorrow. But other than that, it's easy. It's gonna be a nice day. Another thing that I'm doing right now is that I'm not using a reference just because I want to make sure that I add the right amount of contrast and the texture that I need to make it look good on my client's skin. I feel like when I follow my reference, it can limit me from doing more that I can feel like I can do with this piece. So I'm going to be following my own contrast, my own highlights, and my own texture, and add things that I feel like is going to make the tattoo better, and take out things that I feel like it's not going to help at all.
I gotta tap out, I'm done. I'm going home.
Was it how you expected it to feel?
So far, I mean, I was like, I kind of forgot what it was like to be poked by a tattoo needle. Where it's like, it's just a deep cat scratch.
Yes, that's what it is.
I am semi-nervous, but not really, because I feel like I have full faith in Kevin, full trust in Kevin obviously I watch his videos and it's like, oh, he does this to manage the client's pain and manage their energy levels and manage things like that. So I think most of my worries, because like I said, I already have the arm sleeve, so I'm used to tattoos. My nerves just came from pain of like, ooh, that back of the knee is gonna hurt, that ankle is gonna, things like that. But Kevin like walked through like how he would strategize around it and make it work. So I have full faith in his ability to make me hurt, but not too much.
The way that I'm going to be approaching this project is going back and forth with my black and white, so I can give the helmet and the statue an effect like if it's metallic and stone. The needles that I'm going to be using for this, it is a 14 round liner, a 9 curve mag, a 7 round liner with my voltage of a 5.0, and I'm going to be doing it all with my scribble technique, so I can really give it a nice texture to it.
My first reaction was like, wow, this is going to be like covering up the leg. And my second reaction was that there's actually not a lot of detail in his stencil, but I know his work is so detailed in that stuff. So I was very curious to see how he'd piece it together. Even already, like he has that, the neck piece below the armor, and it was just like a blank space, and he just made it appear. So I was so far very impressed.
As soon as I started this project, I knew it was going to look amazing just because for some reason his skin was very hydrated, and it's hard to explain, but sometimes you get this specific skin where it just soaks the ink and it's not hard to pack. So I'm just flowing, I'm going with a nice rhythm, and I'm moving kind of fast. I have my 14 mile liner here, and my first approach it is to do my solid black first before doing my gray tones. So here it is, just very lightly. I'm running it at 5.0 voltage, and I'm using my flux. I'm just gonna outline a little bit of this part of the helmet just to kind of just have it there, just in case my stencil erases, but there it does. Just gonna do this solid black. One thing you gotta remember when it comes down to doing texture on a helmet is that when a helmet is very, I would say, worn out, like if there's a lot of scratches and there's a lot of texture in it, and it's meant to look a little metallic, it's very important to separate the texture across. So we're gonna separate it as much as I can, and with the pressure of my hand doing the scribble technique, I am gonna put more pressure on some areas. I'm probably gonna do longer strokes in some areas, and you can already see the result. When you put your medium gray tone on the top of the texture, it is gonna give it the illusion like if it's worn out, for sure. And as I'm getting closer to this little, what would you call it on the helmet, the little holes like where they can breathe through? A ventilator?
Breathing holes.
Breathing holes.
I mean, that's what they're made for. I'll Google it real quick.
Breathing holes, I guess, on the helmet. Yeah, if you find it on Google, let me know.
There you go.
But basically, on the breathing hole, I'm gonna leave like a tiny little negative on it, just to kind of give it the illusion like if it's a little sunk in.
You're not gonna like it. They're called breaths.
They're called what?
Breaths.
Breaths. Breaths. I feel like I have a lisp.
Yeah.
I like it. Breaths. So I'm gonna leave a negative area on the breaths.
Yeah, I just say breathing holes. It might be.
Breathing hole sounds better. Let's keep that. And I'm gonna do like a darker area on the top to make it look like the highlight or the light source is coming from the top here. There you go, very lightly, and spread it out. Now I'm gonna go, before I continue, I wanna make sure that I go over how I'm gonna be adding my grays. So now I'm gonna start adding my grays here. And do the same exact thing like if you were doing the black. And spread it out. Beautiful. And that's really gonna give it that metallic look. Very unique. And then finish it off with a lighter gray going towards the end of the helmet, because I'm gonna add like a super dark background here because I want this to shine. The end of the mask, I want it to shine as much as I can make it shine. Make it look glossy. And that's exactly how I'm gonna be doing the rest of the helmet. And you'll see the results at the end. After a few hours, my client was still relaxed. He's just sitting like a rock. I kept asking if he was feeling good, if he was hurting, or if he was tired, but all he kept saying is like, it does hurt, but I'm relaxed. And I believed him just because his body was relaxed, he was calm, and I was very surprised how well he was sitting, to be honest.
Yeah, feeling good. Still got my energy. Pain-wise, like I said, I mean, it hurts, but it's just that deep scratch. It was more when we took the first break and I started to walk, I had a little bit of a limp because I was like, oh, it's kind of stinging a little bit. So I think it's more gonna be just the continual little stinging as the day goes on. So I'll at least get the night done for sure. I think his optimistic goal is working up to that knee, but I'll be curious if he actually really gets there.
Doing the statue of the lion, I knew that I wasn't gonna finish it just because it was getting a little too late and I didn't want to just push through it because I wanted him to go home and rest so I can make day 2 the long day. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start at the bottom of the jaw of the lion and finish the rest of the lion day 2. Day 1 was amazing. It was very easy, super fun. I had a lot of great conversations with him. We were just joking around. We got very comfortable. So that also allows me to work even better because my energy levels are up. I'm very hyper all day. My adrenaline is 100%.
Now that everything's kind of locked in place, tomorrow, like, you can just show up and just start going. There is no, like, having to talk through and do the stencil, do all this. It's like you're pretty much set. So hopefully it should go faster, or not faster, but just quicker off the gate. But I think like pain-wise and things like that, it shouldn't be too bad because I just think like that thigh, that side of that, to me, like just more muscly, that it should hopefully be less pain and you can just fly through and I won't need any stops, any breaks.
It's day 2, ready to complete this outer sleeve. I finished the piece on a perfect area so I can be able to connect it without a problem. Very easy, very smooth. It's gonna be a breeze today, man. And the way this looks today, oh man, I'm stoked. Today's day 2 and I'm excited. I am just pumped to finish this project because I know that day 2, it is gonna be just the one thing that's gonna complete the outer sleeve and it's gonna bring everything together and connect it like a puzzle piece. For the top of this piece, I'm gonna be doing a Gothic architecture because of the medieval times, that's the one thing that they created around that time, around that era. So I really wanna make sure that this is on the thigh to give it that illusion that the architecture is on the top. Then we have like a statue of the lion to connect it to the knight.
Yesterday was, I think, 7-ish hours, I think, under the needle. Today we have to get, past that knee and all the way up that thigh. So I think today will probably be, I'm guessing, at least an over 8-hour day, give or take. So I just think it'll be a long day of endurance and just making sure I'm fueled and, pushing through the pain. But I think once it gets past that knee, I think that upper thigh, while it's gonna hurt, it'll be good. It'll be chilling.
I love the placement exactly where it is. I do feel like this area is a little too empty. So what I'm gonna be doing is printing out some sort of frame that can go around this halo of the lion so I can eliminate all this black, and instead of just having just all one tone, I wanted to have at least some dimension in it of the architecture. So definitely gonna be adding a little bit more to it.
Like the back of the knee, then up that thigh. I think this weekend, next few days, that back of the knee and the knee is gonna be really sore when I bend my leg and things like that, because that's really where I feel it. But while it's getting done, I just, I sit and take it.
When it comes down to the architecture, definitely gotta be super patient. The most time-consuming part of this, it is outlining every single thing of this, the whole window. Just because it has so many lines, it has so many intricate details. Once I'm done with the outline, it's gonna be super easy and I'm gonna cruise right through it, packing in the black and doing the little details of the stone.
I think my fiance is more excited than I am, but also because she doesn't have to sit through it, so my excitement is a little tame depending on trying to get it done, and then I can be more excited. But yeah, so she's wanting pictures all throughout the day, and I'm going home and showing her, and we were watching Survivor last night, and I'm peeking her, looking over at my legs. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's definitely excited about this artwork.
The needles that I'm going to be using today, I'm going to be relying more on my 7-mile liner, my 14-mile liner, and a little bit of my 9 curve mag. When I'm taking this approach, I'm not just going in blind. What I'm doing the day before is I'm studying every single reference and trying to memorize it as much as I can so I can make sure that I have something to remember and make adjustments as I'm tattooing. After a few hours, I could see him hurting a little bit more than yesterday just because I feel like his whole body's sore, he's tired, but honestly, how he's reacting right now, that's the reaction I expected yesterday, 5 hours into the session. At the end of day 2, I'm just very impressed with my client, how well he sits, the way he's just relaxed, how calm he is, and that definitely allowed me to not hold back and just tattoo on the same rhythm the way that I started on day 1 and day 2. So today we're gonna be working on the inner sleeve. We've completed the outer sleeve a couple weeks ago and we let it heal so we can go back in and finish the full sleeve. And today we're gonna be doing that. I'm gonna start with the calf on the bottom of the sleeve, and then on day 2 tomorrow we're gonna be doing the inner thigh, and that is gonna be the long day. Today's gonna be a short day so we can make sure that he doesn't, we don't waste his energy or anything like that. So we're gonna navigate nicely and we're gonna be able to complete the full sleeve. Today it is day 3 on this project. I'm gonna be completing the inner sleeve, and at this point it is very easy to customize for my client just because he trusts me all the way through, and it's just letting me do whatever I need to do to make sure that this piece looks amazing.
So I'm back, I got the outer done, so now I'm coming back for the inside. I'm very excited to get that working, get that started. I'm so used to only seeing half the leg, so I'm excited to get that end of the leg going, and I get, like I said, I get so many compliments on it, so I'm excited to see the whole thing come together.
On the bottom of this project, I'm gonna be doing Dr. Plague because I feel like it is a big part of the medieval times, the Common Era, so I feel like it's gonna tie in with the whole entire theme. And plus, Dr. Plague looks amazing on any placement, any project, so I feel like it's gonna complement the outside. I think one of my favorite things about not using the reference is the fact that I have a lot of creative freedom to do whatever I need to do to make the tattoo look amazing. Starting on the bottom of the inner sleeve is one of those areas that I knew was gonna be super painful, but surprisingly, as I was tattooing, I noticed that my client's body was really relaxed, and I could see my client also relaxed. So I'm extremely impressed on how he's handling the pain on that area, because I know it's really sensitive, but his pain tolerance is insane.
I just think it's, it's been something I've thought about for a long time. Actually, my very first tattoo, I wanted to start on my leg, and the piece didn't work. The piece had to go in the arm, so then I completed out the arm. So I think it's just been something in the works for a while. So seeing it kind of come to life on that first thing with the outside, and then seeing it able to be finally completed on the inside, it'll be awesome to see.
First thing that I want to do before attacking the beak of Dr. Plague is doing everything around so I can get a better idea on how bright I can make the mask look, because if the mask looks dark and then the background is dark, the whole piece is going to look like a blob of ink everywhere. It's not going to have the contrast and the highlights on the right areas, so it's not going to stand out at all.
Yeah, it's going well. The lower leg, I thought on that shin bone is kind of the side we want. I thought that would hurt more. Honestly, I thought it was pretty much okay. Pretty easy. It went a little faster too, just because the outer leg had like a night with a lot of detail. This is Dr. Plague, which still has detail, but it can be more like a big shading, not every tiny little chainmail or anything like that. So it's going faster too. So honestly, it's going a little easier than I expected.
Let me see.
It feels fucking weird to, my leg is officially locked in.
Fuck yeah.
Like, the bottom is now touching, so.
Here, turn it this way.
Now I'm stuck.
Ooh, that transition is super nice. Love the way it just transitions smoothly to the other side.
It does transition, right?
Yeah. You can't even tell where things begin or end.
No. Which I'm surprised, because I thought I'd be able to with just the age of the ink.
You let me down last time you came. So we started the first appointment we had. We came up with this statistic about people who like double stuffed M&Ms.
Oreos,
what the fuck? M&Ms. People who like double stuffed Oreos do not like Mountain Dew. But people who like regular Oreos do like Mountain Dew. And we started asking a whole bunch of people. He went home and he started asking his coworkers, and I started asking my own friends. And so far, we got like an 80%.
I feel like it holds true, like 80%.
Yeah. So to everyone watching, drop a comment if you like your Oreos and Mountain Dew. But what was it?
Double stuffed Oreo don't like original Mountain Dew. Original Oreos do like original Mountain Dew.
Yes. The inside of his calf, it is really bright skin complexion, very pale. As I was tattooing the beak of Dr. Plague, I noticed that it is really bright, so there's no need for me to add white highlights to it. So it's definitely gonna save me a lot of time. So I'm gonna focus a lot more on the contrast rather than adding white highlights on this area. So since you guys already saw how the outer sleeve heals up, which is super amazing, that's the piece I did with my cover-up ink set, because the cover-up ink set it is not just to do cover-ups, but it is to do also clean canvases and go back and forth between your white and your black to mix it and create your gray tones, because they're so rich and so the white is so thick and then the black is super thin that they mix perfectly to create different shades. So that is why me and Dynamic collaborated, and we ended up making this amazing ink set that just makes everything a lot easier to do cover-ups, to do gray wash, to do true grays, anything you can imagine. Also, you can tattoo with solid black, which I'm gonna be showing you how things like that heal with different projects. But for right now, we're doing this clean canvas here, and I'm starting with my cover-up black. And like I said, I'm not diluting it. All I'm doing is using the scribble technique with the 5.0 voltage. There it is. And I'm not using the reference. All I did was freehand this. I didn't freehand it on skin, but I did it on my tablet because I wanted it to fit perfectly on the inner calf. And I wasn't finding a single reference that was helping me out, so I had to draw it and make sure that it fit. So that's why I don't have a reference, because I did it out of memory. So I'm adding my own texture and my own contrast, my own highlights, based on what I feel. And I'm using a 14 mil liner. I think I already said that. And before I continue moving down onto the beak, I'm gonna show you how you mix back and forth with your black and white. So I have an ink cap here that it is black, and another one that's white. So all I'm doing is dipping into my white to create a different gray. And there it is. You're gonna get like a nice 70% right there. And I keep doing the same thing where I go back and I dip it in my white to create a different tone. And look at that, amazing. And that allows you to really navigate through it, super smooth, super easy. You don't have to be relying on an ink set that gives you percentages, but you can create your own percentages on the fly, depending on what you like. So I have here like a 70%. Let's just say I wanna, as I get closer to this line, I want like a 20%. I go to my white, and there it is. Look at that. Look at how fast I can transition between tones. And I can go back in and give it a different tone, make it brighter and brighter and brighter. I can even get to 10%. Look at that. Beautiful. And man, I'm just excited that finally I'm able to say that because for the last year and a half, people have been asking me, what brands do you use and what do you mix your grays with? And I haven't been able to answer that question because we've been testing out this ink set for a year and a little bit over a year, because we wanted to make sure, me and Dynamic, that the product was going to work. And I was very picky with how I wanted it to. We wanted to make sure that this ink set was going to work and was going to be very efficient, because I was so used to specific brands here and there, and they were not giving me what I was looking for. So finally, after a year, we put it together and it finally worked out. And now I can see my pieces the way they healed after a year, and it's guaranteed. Like, it is insane. And at the end of this video, you guys are going to see the way it healed and the way it looks fresh, so you guys can compare side to side. And man, it's amazing. And if you guys want to purchase the ink set, head over to dynamic.com and you're gonna find it there. They'll ship it to you. But Dynamic is also going to be sending me a few for free, so I might be giving them away on my YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that.
When I saw this stencil on the low side, it was I knew it would be cool because I trusted Kevin, but the stencil was a little more bland. Like, it was more just the outer lines of things like that. So when I first saw the stencil, I was like, I know it would be cool, but I was also like, I wonder what he's gonna add to like make that pop. And then of course he came through with that, of course. Lower leg was not as bad as I thought. Pain was not as much. still a lot of energy, still good to go. I was actually ready to keep going. I'm like, oh, just keep going. But we still had to figure out what we were gonna really add to the top. So we kind of finished the lower, then kind of brainstormed some things and did a few sketches and stuff like that to kind of figure that out. So Kevin could take that and run with it for tomorrow to be able to come back and finish it. But overall, it wasn't a bad day at all.
Today it is day 4 and it is the final session to complete the whole entire leg sleeve, which is weird that they call it a leg sleeve because it is not technically a sleeve, it is more like leggings. The concept that I ended up picking for the inner leg, it is a horse. One, it ties in with the theme of the medieval times.
It's a big symbolism with that time period, and I think it'll flow out really well. Just the way that hoof is going to go across the knee, it's going to place well, shape the body nicely, and I think it'll just be a good piece to flow in all together.
The horse is one of those projects that it has like a movement to it, because I'm going to be placing it right on top of the knee area. So whenever he bends his knee, I want the leg of the horse to move with the knee. So it's definitely going to add a lot of motion to this sleeve.
You always have your blue Gatorades. You got your peanut butter M&Ms. You get your protein, your fats, your sugars, Slim Jims, and then water. That's my same rotation. Every time I take a break, Gatorade, a few handful of M&Ms, a couple Slim Jims, keep going for the whole day.
On the face of the horse, I am using a 14 rod liner with a voltage of a 5.0. I want to make sure that I add enough texture to it. That way it makes it look like it has a little bit of veins to it, a lot of just texture to the face, because the leg is very soft, so I want to contrast it with the face. I'm not going to be adding any texture or any shading to the front of the face, almost on the nose area, just because I want that to be center of attention. So when people see this leg sleeve, it's going to be very bright and they're going to be able to detect where the face is without making the whole sleeve confusing. The combination of the black with the white, having the black super thin and then the white super thick, really allows me to mix it together nicely so I can navigate smooth with a whole bunch of saturation, and I'm not even irritating the skin. It just goes in nicely.
Today was nice as well. Like I said, we got done pretty quickly too, so it worked out smoothly. Seeing the final outcome, seeing every time I would check in the mirror at a break was so cool, because you could just see it work its way up to be able to see the whole piece, versus when I just had the outside, it was still cool. But as we worked our way up the left side, it was like closing in the leg as you went, and it was such a cool effect to see it kind of close in, and then now being able to look down and see the whole piece. I didn't realize how much my brain was used to the line down the middle of the leg because it was only one side. So seeing the whole piece is just crazy to see, like, oh, my entire leg is covered. That's sweet.
I really love the way this project turned out, the way everything flows with the leg sleeve, the way everything was pieced together super nicely, and especially the application, just because the ink set really allows me to saturate it super nice, and the way it healed in comparison to the way it looks fresh, mind blowing.
I think I'm gonna have to be a very social butterfly, because I do think so many people are gonna comment on that, and now that the whole thing is done, the conversation is probably gonna be just that more expansive, just because it's gonna have that much more to talk about and that much more to show. So I think it'll be really cool. I think I'm gonna have to switch my wardrobe too. I normally like wearing like longer pants. I'm gonna have to switch my wardrobe to a long top and shorts, so I can always show it off, so that way I can just be in public and let everybody see it.
So with that being said, thank you so much for coming back and watching this brand new video. I really appreciate you. And do you have a leg sleeve, and what part of the whole leg sleeve was the most painful part? Share it in the comment section. I'm going to be reading all your stories like I usually do and reply to all of them. And thank you so much for showing so much love to my videos. I really appreciate that. So with that being said, if you're a tattoo artist, I hope you learned something from this video. And if you're a tattoo enthusiast, I hope you were entertained. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.